All right, so in case you missed the ending of the lecture, the beginning of the lecture, or the entire lecture, this is a review of the 5 themes of geography as we discussed in class. I'm also going to take some notes on the side so that you can see generally what I hope your notes look like, or at least the content that I expect you to have. For the topic, obviously, it's going to just share the name with the PowerPoint. 5 themes of geography. Today's date is the 26th. Goodness, how time flies. Our lesson objectives for this is going to tie in to our discussion of ancient history, or at least the topics that you were going through on your unit project. How does geography influence history? Why do we care about geography? All right, we are ready to get started. Oops. And please pardon me as I troubleshoot through some of these problems. Now, the first slide is a lot of information written down, but we are only going to focus on a couple key takeaways. One of which is, and I'm going to put this in bold, geography organizes space. Additionally, we are going to focus on 3 questions. Whoops. We're going to focus on, where is it? Why is it there? And what are consequences of it being there? The rest of this slide basically discusses comparisons between organizing space and organizing time. When we begin to delve into the meat of history and talk about periodization, you'll discover that historians have chunked history into eras such as the global tapestry, or networks of exchange, revolutions, global conflict, and so on and so forth. With geography, we usually organize things in terms of the 5 themes. The 5 themes of geography do help us understand in terms of location, place, human and environment interaction, movement, and regions. Because this is on the vocabulary part of your packets, I am not writing this down, and I would not expect you to write that down. Additionally, I'm not writing anything on this slide because we can understand that we are looking at all of these themes together. We are not going to look at place without understanding location. We will not discuss movement without also discussing human and environment interaction, and so on and so forth. What we will write is that location can be split up into 2 different parts. Oops. It can be split up into absolute location and relative location. Absolute location is going to describe where it is positioned in terms of coordinates, or latitude and longitude. In terms of relative location, we are going to look, and actually I could skip ahead to that. We can look at such things as where they're positioned in relation to other things. This can be specific or it could be non-specific. It can go in terms of walking 20 steps north. Cristo Rey is located by the Dunkin' Donuts. My house is across the street from my brother's. That's not actually true. But you understand the point. On this slide, we're discussing further what the implications of location are. That was a fun sentence to say. Location is just, again, one piece of this geography puzzle. There are some discussion questions here. I would not expect you to look at them at this point. We did not discuss them in class, but if you would like to further your understanding, you are more than welcome to discuss and think about those. Place. Place can also be split up into two different subsets. The first one is going to be physical place. The second one is going to be human place. When we talk about physical place, we are understanding that this is natural or nature related. When we're talking about physical space, we can also discuss such things as what is it like in terms of separating it from any other place in the world. Is there a body of water? Is there a mountain? Is there animals? Is this spot the location of the silverback gorilla? Is this place home to poison ivy or maple trees? Is this place unique because it has a higher level of oxygen than other areas? Human place is by humans for humans. These can be things such as parks, houses, cities, and it also can be things such as culture and language. Human place separates and distinguishes spots from each other. Within Chicago, we have Chinatown, we have West Side, we have Gold Coast, we have the Loop, we have the suburbs, all of those different places that are human-made. Again, this is just another discussion slide. If you'd like to look at it on your own time to further your understanding, please feel free. The next one is going to be human and environment interaction. The key takeaway from this is that humans and nature interact. Well, that's pretty obvious, right? So we could just say that humans and nature have a relationship. At times it could be rocky. At times they can hurt each other. But we both adapt to each other. This can be in terms of clothing to adjust for temperature. This could be in terms of heating or AC. This could be in terms of adapted gear, such as scuba gear, or it could be oxygen tanks. Nature can also be influenced by humans. It can be in terms of reintroducing an endangered or extinct animal to a habitat or place or location. It could be in terms of cutting down trees. It could be in terms of something as simple as redeveloping land or building on it. Illinois used to be an extensive prairie, and people cut down the prairie land in order to build homes and cities and highways. And so a lot of the animals and plants that used to live in Illinois have gone endangered or are extinct, or they've adapted and they now live very different lives than they did a couple hundred years ago. For example, coyotes are roaming in different areas, and they didn't used to have to go through streets and such. So you see a lot of deer and coyotes now getting hit by cars. The next theme is movement. Movement does not have to be limited to travel. This actually mostly involves the idea of connection. How are things connected to each other? So actually that's going on to the next bullet point. What is the relationship between people, ideas, culture, language, and other things across space? This can involve the wind carrying a certain smell. This can involve people using English across the globe, even though English is not the main language that was originally there. It can involve the idea of culture, such as in some places, women having equal rights to men, or in other places, women not having those same rights. So ideas, culture, physical items, all of these things can move. The last one to discuss is regions. Regions are human-developed separations of territory. Regions are also a defined area. We have continents and countries, but generally historians and geographers really agree on at least 6 different regions. Those can be Oceania, North America, Europe, or they can even separate that into Eastern and Western Europe, Africa, and Asia. Some regions can be further developed from there. There's East Asia, there's the Caribbean, and so on and so forth from there. But one of the key ideas for a region is that it is different in some way from other parts of the world, particularly the ones that it is right next to. Africa is dramatically different than Asia, which is dramatically different than Europe. That being said, this is roughly the type and the level of notes that I'm expecting you to take right now. When it comes to later lectures, I will have graphic organizers that you can use for notes, or you can take notes in your own style. But if you have any questions or concerns about this material, then please feel free to email and let me know. Bye.